What tis, what tis.
Saturday Night Live. We're back. Well, mantra time. Mm, What? Oh, okay. The new epoch of the gods. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great no thingness of the almighty powers, of the great no thingness of almighty flow, the great no thingness of infinite beingness, of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible light from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we all now willing commanded to be. Now, being and becoming an active force of higher consciousness, an active force of infinite intelligence within us all now, being and becoming the great primordial dragon, God, Son, Kundalini flames. Now, whirling and ascending up our spines from our root chakra to our central heart chakra and all the way up to our royal crown chakra, igniting our royal crown chakra, illuminating our first eye, our Lord Amunel Dragra, our hidden priestly grandmaster Magi Dragon God Son King and Queen, igniting all of the 72 chakras in our first eye, our 72 primordial Dragon God Son Kings and Queens, and all of our legions of 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 armies 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 now willing all of the powers, all of the forces, all of the elements, all of the essences, all of the dark matter, dark energy, and ethers ruling the entire omniverse, earth, and physical and spiritual matrix and heavenlies into being and becoming all of our will servants, serving all of our will's objectives, intentions, and desires, crystallizing them all into realization, actualization, and form as we all now will and commanded to be. Now, being and becoming an active force of supernal light and energy that we're using to unlock and activating all of our higher DNA, returning it all back online within us through the black dot within our first eye, universe B. Now, increasing the vibratory rate of our entire being up higher and higher and higher, changing every atom and subatomic particle of matter within our entire beingness back into a new primordial chaos to order being of higher manas, the master manifester of all reality and beingness, manifesting into our reality and beingness a new and greater mind connected to Atma, the Most High, while pulling in unlimited supernal light and energy from right out of Atma and into our higher and lower manas and on down into our physical reality, manifesting it here as all of the substance that we need now to take total control of our reality in this matrix through the knowledge of our true higher and lower inner self as we begin to learn how to magnetically reattaching all of our higher DNA back together again, empowered by the supernal light and energy of Atma control through higher and lower manas, phasing in universe B, the world to come, while phasing out universe A, the world being to become destroyed now, by raising the vibratory rate up so high until it begins to awaken and igniting all of the divine sparks in this matrix, one by one, all going supramental consciousness together, bypassing all of their humanity, completely destroying this illusionary matrix at once, being and becoming pure supernal energy, vibrating higher and higher and higher, being and becoming more massive than the sun, until we suck the sun, the sun, an entire solar system into our supernal darkness and supernal light, collapsing this entire space-time continuum into our supernal energy as it continues vibrating faster and faster and faster until it implodes and explodes, forming into Universe B, the world to come, on a new earth expressed in its most grandest grace and beauty, in a universe now built on the foundation and fabric of divine love, peace, justice, harmony, and balance. As all of the souls come together to celebrate the great feast and grand festival of the new epoch of the gods, through the power, force, might, will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow. The great nothingness of infinite beingness of infinite, endless, limitless, invisible life, from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be. Abracadabra, Ashe. Okay. Crown chakra day libations. Ain the nothingness, Ashe. Ain soft, the infinite, Ashe. Ain soft or the infinite light, Ashe. Adam Catman, Atik Yaman, the ancient of ancient, the most ancient of days. Arik, the primordial Christ, Ashe. Absolute emanations, the supernal holy universe manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical names, the cosmic Christ, Ashe. The great abyss of gnosis manifesting in us as our crown of Zerampin, the small face, the indwelling Christ, Ashe. Berea, form, creation, and paradise, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical dark archangels and demons within us, Ashe. Yetzirah, formation, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical orders of dark angels and demons within us, Ashe. Ashia, the actual physical world and the making, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical earthly kingdom within us, Ashe. Yeshida, the holy divine infinite magical spark, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical will, Ashe. Heya, our holy divine infinite magical life force, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical desire, Ashe. Neshama, our holy divine infinite magical heavenly soul, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical heavenly thought, Ashe. Ruach, our holy divine infinite magical soul, manifesting in us as our holy divine infinite magical word spoken through us, Ashe. Nephish, our holy divine infinite magical earthly soul, manifesting into realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be, Ashe. Kether, the supernal crown, Ashe. Hakma, wisdom, the supernal father, Ashe. Bina, understanding and intelligence, the supernal mother, Ashe. Doth, the great abyss of gnosis, Ashe. Hased, mercy, Ashe. Gavora, judgment, Ashe. Tiferet, beauty, Ashe. Netzik, victory, Ashe. Had, glory, Ashe. Yasad, foundation, Ashe. Malkut, the kingdom, Ashe. Power, force, might, will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow. The primordial cosmic flower constantly blooming the absolute all into being. Ashe. Abracadabra, Ashe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Hey, man. Another day in paradise. So, as we unleash the arson of Megadeth. Not we, they. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we may have crossed the Rubicon. Well, our governments may have crossed the Rubicon. are these governments. They're not ours. We have our government. It's just in high.
Oh,
It's
you
just
finished with the libations?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you still got it on the camera off.
Oh shit. My bad.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, so what's on the agenda? Facts about the Negro.
Oh, you see my screen?
Yeah, see, yeah, you're sharing. What do you land includes not only the soil but everything attached to it, whether attached by the course of nature as trees, herbage and water, and by the man and the buildings. Okay. Okay, so you're displaying all of this.
Hey, what happened?
You're
Hey,
displaying a whole lot of things.
you wait for me. Oh, I gotta.
Yeah, I was waiting.
I need to facilitate before you start talking. You can start talking.
Okay. Well, man, they I think they're crossing the Rubicon here today.
What you mean?
The American Trump deciding to step into the war directly, even though they were indirectly involved. Now they're directly involved, and there's implications with that. This is not like the old days when wars where we go bomb motherfuckers into submission and overthrow their government and put puppets in there who we want and live happily ever after.
Right.
This one is a whole lot more trickier. This is a trap. I was just watching something on Pakistan. There's a good chance that Pakistan is helping Iran because when Israel made that surprise attack and took out all their um, surface to air missiles and their anti-aircraft defense, that shit was back up in just a few hours.
Right.
And all Israel is probably doing is just destroying infrastructure and killing a whole lot of people, but they probably even haven't touched any of the weapons of mass destruction because Iran they have the ability to make a bomb. They've been at it for a long time. But so what? Israel got more nuclear weapons in the Middle East than anyone else.
That's the hypocrisy that gets on my nerve. Is why are y'all so? The only reason they are even attempting to develop weapons is because of y'all threats.
To
Israel's threat.
defend themselves against them.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that now it's like this whole we can and you can't dictatorship going on, which people are not ignoring how y'all are going after these countries for weapons of mass destruction, and the United States have used weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, so if they're going to go after Iran because of that, then they got to go after North Korea, and then they got to go after Pakistan, then and then they're going to have to go after everyone else who have nuclear weapons that they don't like. That's not on their team. That's called World War, if you ask me.
Well, the thing about it is, we have to divest as a people, man. We have to divest. We have to remove ourselves from, because the judgment that's coming upon America is coming upon all of us. No one's exempt. If you divest right now, you may have a chance, but we as a
At least,
people have no interest in this. I don't understand why we keep getting involved in the Western affairs. We we have no stake in none of this shit at all. I
no,
don't get it.
no,
Me personally, I feel like we should just let them kill each other off and shit.
kill each other off.
They'll kill each other off, and then we step to the side and develop our what we have to do for ourselves. Because this is what it's really going to come down to. While we
Mm-hmm.
keep on investing in this bullshit when it's collapsing, thinking that's what we supposed to be doing, that's in our best interest. I mean, it's not a sound strategy if you ask me, because it's collapsing.
Well, the fact that they're doing this right now must mean this whole war is probably a cover up for something even greater. There's probably a cosmic event that's on the brink of
Yep,
occurring,
I agree.
and they need a war to keep people distracted.
Right.
So when this event occurred, you know,
It's gonna look like it's the war when it's actually a level of what they call that shit, a level one catastrophe and shit.
well, they said the chick that prophesied 3/11, which was the earthquake in Japan on March the 11th, 2011. Now the prophecy is 6/25/25, 6/25/2025, which is, I believe that's Wednesday. Yep, that would be Wednesday.
Yep.
And now that the
I'm
U.S. has
tired.
stepped in,
I'm tired of hearing doomsday predictions and no doomsday coming. Let it come. Come on.
well, there is a case for something like that to happen now. Now that the U.S. has stepped into the arena of this war,
Yeah, let it come on.
and maybe that's the reason why the U.S. stepped into the arena, because some event that they probably
No,
know about.
you are definitely right about something cosmic going on that they've been covering it up. The chemtrails is a result of their cover up. All of these events that have, for the most part, been orchestrated. You
And
know what
not
I'm
only
saying?
that,
Are all distractions.
all these earthquakes and volcanoes going off all around the world at the same time, and it's picking up the volume. I think it's probably going to go to a whole nother level to where no one can ignore it. That there's something really, really going on, and it's beyond anything that man is doing. Even though man have the ability to duplicate some of those effects, but I think we'll be able to tell the difference between um, uh, Memorex, which is man, and the real thing, Manorex, and nature. So I mean, if we make it out of this summer with no catastrophe or nothing really, really, crazy, really crazy happening, other and this war, they eventually have a ceasefire and they go to the negotiating table and everything is, we worry about getting the economy back on track. That would be
That will be the worst case scenario.
that'd be the worst case scenario.
Hell yeah, we got to go back to regular scheduled program. That means we haven't made any great breakthroughs
Progress.
freeing humanity yet. Like we haven't made any groundbreaking on freaking freeing humanity, and that's what we're charged with. The spirit is charging us with freeing humanity up.
In order
Humanity
to
has
do
to
that.
free humanity though. We have to
Yeah.
get out of the. We have to shake off these wicked spirits that's on us and actually overthrow all of the governments on the planet and bring it back into the interest of humanity itself, the people themselves. I mean, that's a spirit too. That's a potentiality too. And my thing is, that's like a miracle. But this is the age. This is the age of miracles. We in the age of miracles right now.
Hmm.
We
Yep.
we in the age of magic right now. We in the age of like this advanced magic, not that old magic. This is a more advanced magic. This is another spirit that's coming in. It's ushering in. It's going to be great, but it's going to be devastating at the same time.
Yeah, we're going into a new cycle and things are changing rapidly, very rapidly. And before you know it, uh, things are going to become unrecognizable real soon.
Right. The thing about it is, I've been telling people the main thing you would have to do is prepare yourself emotionally. I've been preparing myself emotionally for this over 20 years now. Like I'm waiting for this. I'm tired of the talk. Let's
Hmm.
do it now. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully your prediction come true. Let's do this, man.
Chances are they probably are. I don't think we're going to come out of this the way we came in.
And I want it to happen because those who are genuinely, sincerely on their path of growth, spiritual growth, they're going to recognize all of the hindrance, all of the. They're going to recognize the inhibitor chip, and they're going to destroy the inhibitor chip within them. And we're gonna do great things. We're gonna do great things.
Yeah, either that or they go mad.
I mean, sorry, they already gone mad. This is insanity. To even be a part of a society like this is insanity. To be a part of a world like this is insanity. We're all insane at this particular moment.
Yeah, we are. We are. And we will defend our insanity.
Yeah, we will defend our complacency in that insanity. We will defend
That
our ability to deny that constantly and perpetually put ourselves into this um, bliss, ignorance of bliss, right? That's the freedom that most people really want. That's the freedom that they really, really enjoy in America. The freedom to just be oblivious.
well, that's like well, you know what? It's like being on the movie Aliens. You're thinking that way, and that xenomorph is right in front of you.
Right, right.
Yeah,
You talk
yeah.
about Men in Black,
No, I'm talking about aliens, the xenomorphs.
right? Because they got something similar to that in the Men in Black series.
Okay. Well, in aliens, when one of those things are like within eyesight of you, you're gonna die. If you can see it and it can see you, you're dead. and
Right.
wishing for, thinking about tomorrow, thinking about, what you're going to have for breakfast tomorrow is probably the wrong thing to be thinking about at that time. So I guess thinking about having a wonderful future on this planet from this point on is probably a waste of your time, maybe.
I mean, I don't think so. I think you just got to live in the circumstances that are inevitable because humanity refuses to take charge of this reality, and we continue to let these archons run it. We continue to let the demiurge run it, and I mean, we can. I look at what you say of the future. The future is like something unshaped yet. It can be the most devastating thing. It can be the most moderate thing, like we just said. It can be nothing happens and we return back to regularly scheduled programming and already progress.
Yeah.
Or it could be the most advanced thing. Because to me, I believe we're going to advance once we are stripped of all the materialistic, superficial, shallow, um, idealistic way we are thinking. It's like once we're stripped of all that, we're going to actually see ourselves for who we are, and our true colors are going to be shown. That's what I'm looking for when in this destruction. In this destruction art, we're going to strip everything, and it's going to be nothing but genuality. You can't be nothing but honest and be genuine at that point. It's like everyone is operating in a front. They're faking, they're fronting, they putting on a persona, and they're not being who they actually are.
Well, what if we all just became more psychic all of a sudden?
I mean, that
Something
will lead. What
happened.
I just said will lead to psychic activities because we will suppress the ego, not suppress it in the sense of getting rid of it, but actually control it. The ego, is why it's we're not being telepathic. The ego is why
Well,
we're not
no,
being
that
psycho.
well, the ego is needed. Yeah, you can't live without the ego. However,
I heard you say
you
that a
can't.
couple of times. Oh my God, because you keep saying, explain to me why is the ego necessary and we can't survive without the ego.
Okay, because we live in the physical plane. Okay,
No, we
if you
don't.
live in the physical
No,
plane,
we don't.
you
No, we don't. No, we don't. You live on the physical plane because that's what you're perpetuating in your thought process. The physical world is nothing, is less than 10% of reality. And all of the rest of it is empty space.
okay, we're experiencing a phenomena called the physical world. We're
Yeah,
experiencing,
based on frequencies that we're operating at the particular time
and in order to
we're
experience
operating in a
this,
if we're operating at a state where we can't control the flux of the physical reality, we're being controlled by it, and opposed to we're controlling it. Then of
okay,
course you would say
okay,
that. I get why you say
but let
we
me
live on a
finish
physical
though. But
plane.
you
I
never
get
let
why
me
you say
finish.
we live on a physical plane because we're orientated and vibrating at that level. I get it, but
Okay,
we
we
can
live
change the
on
frequency.
third density. We live on third density.
No, we don't.
We okay.
That's just one
We're not.
plane we exist on.
That's the plane we exist. Okay, we exist on
That's
the
one
third.
plane we exist on. We are multidimensional. That's one plane we exist on.
Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to explain it to the way that you're gonna be able to accept it, but I'm gonna try to explain it anyway. The ego is needed on this density because it is the vehicle that we use to experience the world. Now, it's not when you take the ego as the end all be all, then there's a problem. The ego is the servant of a higher ego. We have a little ego, little I here, and we have a greater I here. Well, the greater I is not here, but the little I appears to be here. And the little I must be the servant of the higher I and do the work of the higher I. In the Bible, they call that doing my Father's work. Now, what happened here is that we come to the illusion that the little I is the true I, and we worship the little I, and we put all the emphasis on little I, and we become slave to the little I when we're supposed to discipline the little I to become slave to the higher I, so the higher I can experience itself down here through the smaller I. Does that make sense?
Everything you just said is a construct.
Is a construct?
Yes, it's a construct. We create these things. They don't exist. What actually exists is the essence, which is the spark. That's the only thing that exists. Nothing else. Everything else is just nothing more than a projection or something we're creating with our own thoughts.
So then let's just think this away and go back
really,
and go back into
it's not essentially it has no substance, like I just said. The mass majority of what we refer to as physical reality is empty space. There's nothing there. So when you're saying the little I, the big I, all you're talking about is states of consciousness, these constructs that we create. We are one. We are the mother. We are the father. We are the cosmos. Everything, the making of, we are all that oneness. This is, and we are
but we're also
the duality. We are the oneness, and we can separate ourselves from the oneness in consciousness, in sense. We're not separated. We're never separated. What you're referring to as the ego is that that attempt to separate so that we can experience ourselves outside of our
consciousness is separation. Consciousness is separation. To be conscious of yourself is to be being a conscious of I-ness, meaning
it's an appearance of separation. There is no separation.
Yeah, but it's still being played out though.
If you like, yes, I mean, explain. It is being played out, but if you don't have no substance, it's being played out from a lower vibrational level. Then you're going to experience it as it's real. But if you are vibrating at a higher level, you're going to experience that. It's just the same thing when you're dealing with higher tone of things and lower tones, right? This is the same thing with the thought process. Yes, this is why when they weighed your heart with a feather in the ceremonial ritual, it was saying that you put density through your emotion, through your convinced, you're convincing yourself of this construct. You put weight on it by even doing in that act itself. So,
but you still have to experience it. You're guilty by experiencing it. Then, in that case,
what we're experiencing is a creation that we created. That's all. That's it. It can be turned off and turned on. It's just like an appliance. It's really it's a mental construct, meaning when I say turn it off, if we turn it off, it never existed at all.
Yeah, well, tell that to the people who got to get up tomorrow morning and go to work. And tell them
I ain't got to see that. See, what you're displaying is you're not vibrating at the level where you can comprehend outside of that. You are locked in. Yes, I get it. You locked in. This is the end all be all. That is,
I never said that.
You still not getting it.
You can only speak for yourself on that. You can't speak for me.
No, you just admitted it. You just admitted it. You just said you just gave validity to something.
I said tell that to the people tomorrow. I mean, tell them that. I mean, people are good. You can say all of that, but if you got to get up and go to
I'm
work
not.
tomorrow,
I'm
you're
not
going to
trying to
get up and
convince
go to
them.
work
No, I'm
tomorrow.
not trying to
Okay?
convince them of nothing. If they want to continue to think otherwise, continue.
Whatever we got to get up and do tomorrow. Chances are we're going to get up and have to do it tomorrow.
That's not the point.
Whether
It don't matter if you get up in the morning. It still was an illusion that you created in your higher spiritual body, in your spiritual mind.
Okay, so then obviously, um, I'm doing that for a reason. I'm doing that to
We
play
doing it
to really to experience myself in this.
exactly. You it's an evolution of your spirit. You evolving.
Okay, so doing that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Who said there was something wrong with it?
I mean that it's all the
So
divine
I'm trying to
spark
figure out why you
experience.
said nothing's wrong with it. Why you say that? Who said there was something wrong
Because
with it? See, the reason why you said that is because you're trying to justify it in your head. And I'm trying to get you
So what's the point? What's the point here?
evolution of the soul, evolution, whatever you came to do. This is you have to tell yourself what's the point. We think it's some arbitrary divine something outside of you. You tell yourself what is the point. What you can dictate everything because you created it. You're creating this shit.
Well, the only reason I would want to be here is to experience love.
Experience who?
Love.
I mean, that's everyone has what they here to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
and not just.
Don't get
love
too caught.
itself.
Don't get too caught up in the matrix and not realize it's a matrix.
But
Because
love
it seems
doesn't
like
come.
you're bordering.
Excuse
You
me.
think it's real. You think this shit is real. It's
Excuse
not
me.
real.
I said love. Is love part of this matrix, or is love something beyond the matrix?
Love is
True divine love.
love is something that's like a force in the universe, right?
But is it from the matrix, or is it something beyond the matrix?
It's the matrix has this version of it, but it is beyond the matrix. The force that I'm referring to as love, because when we put a word to something, we put a connotation to it, meaning humanity wants to be comfortable when they putting a word to something. So when you're doing that, you're removing more and more from the essence of what it is. What I noticed about humanity is that the more we've been reversed. We're supposed to be the more we know, the greater we grow, regardless of
So is that a
how it
bad
affects
thing or a
us.
good thing?
Oh my god! Regardless of how it affects us, we just take the good with the bad, right? I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
something we learned in the hood. We take the good with the bad, but we get caught up into not wanting to experience the negative. We don't want to experience the negative, so we start denying certain things and start another part of the power. We can remove ourselves from certain things. That don't mean you're not. If you're removing yourself from it, that don't mean that you're getting away from it. It's a part of you.
Well, negative things are, I mean, if you want to call it that, adversity that's a part of life.
You see what
You-
you just said? You
Yes.
created that. You just created that in your. Even though it was cliche-ish, that's a program. That's a cliche. Oh, we were like what
No,
you making all this stuff.
that
It's an essence truth to it, but it's a cliche. It's a program. We're creating this. We're creating this, brother. You know how people say stuff like God is God is what they say like God is still working on me.
okay.
How the hell you gonna dictate what God is? I thought you was a subordinate to God.
Okay, so now, okay, so since everything we're constructing everything as we think.
You
So
constructing everything in your life.
I'm
We're
I'm
collectively we're collectively creating everything for humanity.
So we're collectively constructing everything in our lives.
Yes, yes.
Then that's not good or bad. It just is.
It just the fuck is.
Okay. And it's
Right.
going to manifest whatever the fuck it manifests. And that's what the soul wants, so it can experience itself.
The soul, in essence, right, is a whole world in itself. That's a whole nother dimension. Your soul is in a whole nother dimension. And it's like you're having like a super positioning experience with your soul, right?
Yeah, yeah, just a little
It's
tiny
a
spark.
quantum connection. It's a quantum connection because your soul is not necessarily in this vibration. We're in a whole nother vibration than our soul is actually in. So when you go, okay, so let's, when we talking about the soul, right? 9 times out of 10, most people are talking about a rhythm, right? This pulse, this, right? Because when you talk about soul music is a pulse, it's a vibration, it's a rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
What we were actually referring to. Well, in essence, this is a realm of sound. This is a realm of these conceptual ways of expressing through vibration, through sounds, through it's this is all this world consists of, and it was a primal world. It's a primal world. Before these other, we got to look at all the layers that are together to make up what we think the tapestry of the cold cosmos. Pulling off the layers, pull off the layers. When you pull off the layers, you're going to see more layers. But eventually,
It's fractals.
eventually though, you get the source. I mean, you get the source. You can see the source, but then go back the other way and put layers on. Put layers on, right?
Mm.
This is you predicting your reality now. Because what do I mean by putting layers on? That means you're doing meditation, you're visualization, you're doing what they call that shit. Yeah, visualization, board visualization, and then manifesting. You're putting layers on, and you're shaping that potentiality. The multi-potential reality is open for business, and you can do whatever you want with this shit, bro. That's the reason, and we putting too much emphasis on we're just being arbitrary and we just being outside of the controls of it. Now it's a mastery to controlling it, though. It's a discipline to controlling it. But you can control the whole cosmos from your living room, y'all.
Yeah.
Especially your cipher, and your cipher is going to affect your cipher, which is the microcosm that is like your control system or your interface with the macro. You have a whole universe with which you can actually you can actually affect the micro through your macro cipher.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah, you do rituals that can do that. But we do that all the time. Well,
We constantly doing it against our spiritual growth. We keep on doing it to keep on putting ourselves into this mindset, like you just said. Those who wake up in the morning and they got to go back. That's the sensory perception trap.
but chances are that's going to happen tomorrow, though.
I mean,
People are going to
at
get up.
the what
People that
it's
got to
going
go to get up and go to work tomorrow. Chances are tomorrow's going to come as on time. Their alarm clock is going to go off, and they're going to get up, and they're going to go about what they did the day before.
okay, but listen, they can even control that though, because if you get out of immediate satisfaction psychosis, if you get out of recognizing that when you are doing manifestation, you have to step into your manifestation. Meaning, if you saying, I want to be an engineer or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't that it's just gonna miraculously happen, right? What's gonna happen though is you're gonna start reading engineering books now. You're gonna
You're gonna
start
what?
reading engineering books. You're gonna start talking engineering and running into people who talk engineering now. This is
Yeah,
the universe showing you that you can step. This is how you step into this reality. See,
yeah,
you
but
think
it takes.
the
It doesn't happen
manifestation is
overnight.
going to happen like that. It's not happening like that. You got to step into your manifestations.
Yeah, but yeah, you got to put it to work in. It's just not going to happen overnight, and so you're still going to have to put up with being in the matrix and going along with the matrix to get what you want in the matrix.
But you're looking at the matrix as something outside of your control, though. Look, anybody who's looking at it outside of their control is look, they get the
How am I
same
looking
feeling
at
that
it
I get
outside my
when I
control?
have to
Wait,
exercise.
excuse me. How am I looking at it outside
I
my
mean,
control?
do you hear me? Do you hear me talking? I can't hear you.
Yeah, yeah, but you just
I mean,
said,
you hear me? You hear me?
okay,
Do you hear
okay,
me? Can you hear me?
yeah,
Okay,
I
because
was
you be
just
talking over me and stuff. I don't
responding.
think you can't hear me. Okay, but what I was saying,
I'm looking at it outside my control.
no,
I
I
was
mean,
just,
my thing is this is development stage. You're not gonna automatically take control. You're not. It's not when you grow up and you grow, you can take control. No, even when you old as hell, most old people don't got control over their technology, their biological, organic, divine technology, which is the spirit, the soul, the organic self, the essence, the spark. These are technologies, but you gotta be mindful of this and go to the set of mastery of these things
yeah,
within
especially
yourself,
in density.
right? What are the ways you master yourself?
Adversity,
That's one way.
trauma,
That well, you could go through trauma and actually reach self mastery.
repetition,
Some people,
repetition,
right?
and
You can go through trauma and what happens is when you go through trauma, that's one of the best mechanism to activate that.
oh yeah, pain. When some
Right.
pain is introduced to your ass, you gonna remember.
So, but it can also happen the opposite way too. But
What's
that's
that?
that's going back to where everybody at in their vibrational self and journey. Your vibration is going to actually dictate what you're acceptable to or what you're sending out because your vibration is dictated by your magnetism, your mind magnetism, your spirit magnetism, and your receptors within you.
Well, there was one thing I wanted to mention. I don't know if you heard me, but repetition too. Repetition, reinforcement of repetition is
Repetition. What do you mean? What was the
to,
question?
you were saying how a person can get and learn. And we were
Master
saying
themselves.
trauma,
Okay, how mastery,
mastering
self
themselves,
mastery.
self mastery, repetition too.
Right. Well. The reason why you exercise is not necessarily for physical health. That's just a bonus. The reason you
Hmm.
exercise is for breathing techniques, for breath.
Oh,
Right.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, your breath is the most important thing in your existence. When you say the ego is no, the breath is we wouldn't be on this plane without the breath, mostly because the breath is that
Yeah.
quantum connection to the spirit world.
Yeah, without breath, the ego can't be here. It can't stay
That part,
alive, can't sustain itself.
right?
Yeah, can with nothing on this vibration. I mean, that breathes. That if it breathes, it then. However, in the afterlife, or in the spirit world, are we breathing there?
They're the impulse, they're the pulse happening, the vibration, because all breathing is that vibration from a physical standpoint. It's that
Because when we don't have a body
oscillating
anymore,
force. It's that oscillating force, that in or out. It's that fluctuation between worlds type of energetic transformation and shit. Your breathing is the result of you in flux. You in between worlds when you breathing. If
okay,
you can stop breathing, if you stop breathing, you will pass out. You go into these other
you
states.
leave one world and go into
Yeah, you
another
go
one.
into the other states.
Yeah, you you're disconnected from both worlds and thrown into just one.
We can even go into the state that they refer to as death.
Yes, yeah, that's like, man, and I mean, for all mortals, it's like one of the most. Hmm.
Well, this is what I want to emphasize. What I've been emphasizing, like for example, if you have went through all this and reached that point of your on your deathbed, and you just still you still put emphasis on your physical existence as being the end all be all, right? When you pass on, this is what you're going to carry in. That's the energy you're going to be transitioning in.
Well,
That's
you
the
know,
vibration you're going to be transitioning in. So, my thing is, most people, they're so attached to their humanity that it's hard for them to let that go.
well, you know, I've had many near death experiences where I just knew for sure I was about to die, and every time when that occurred, I was ready. In fact, every time when I opened my eyes and I was still here, I was very fucking disappointed.
Well, the thing about it is, yes, you're right. I mean, you don't want to go into a state of panic because, what, like I said, whatever you're vibrating at or what state you was in when you transition, you're either going
Hmm.
to open yourself up to stuff, or you're going to take,
You're gonna panic.
huh?
You're gonna go in there in a panicky mode.
Right, and then you open yourself up to
Fear.
these other entities that are waiting. Though, when you panicking, when you in fear, you panicking, you open up portals in yourself.
Well, those other entities are only aspects of your own self. You're in an illusion. So
Oh, of
those other
course.
entities are an illusion, and you're the one that's creating the illusions. So you must come to realize you must come in harmony and balance with those illusions. You must be at peace with yourself, and then you be at peace with them, and then you be at one because now you know, hey, this is me and I'm them. This is okay, yin and yang. All right. That's just another pole of the same thing, you know, in a part of me. You know, I have the light side of me, and then there's the dark side of me, the shadow side.
Right. So if it's a part of you, it can't affect you because it is you.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
we are one. So you can't affect me in that sense anymore. I
yeah.
know we are in harmony with each other because I recognize you. I recognize you within me.
Yeah. So I'm going to walk in the middle and I'm going to balance both of you. I'm going to use
Right.
you
Right.
like a
I am the
scale.
medium. I am the
Yeah.
medium before you can't even exist. You can't even be expressed. That force, that entity, whatever, can't even be
Hmm.
expressed without the medium.
Yeah.
And that's not only on the physical world, that's on the spirit realm too. You are the medium. You are the middle passage. You are the path between.
Point in the middle.
So once you recognize these things, you move in a certain vibration. It's just like how nationality is nationality is the sense or the mentality of those belonging to a nation.
Oh, well, speaking of nationality, I can read this. I would love to share this when I can find it.
Oh, you hurry up because we gotta go.
Okay, I'm almost there. Okay, here we go. What does it mean in international law regarding dehumanization, denationalization, and genocidal claims for a people to claim that they willingly, knowingly, intentionally, and voluntarily use words such as Black, Negro, Color, African American to which to identify themselves, having no connection to any nationality, land, geography, national sovereignty, nation, state, country, national constitution, national flag, national seal, national character, national consciousness, national pride, ancestral, consanguinity, genealogy, descent, national origins, pedigree, parentage, lineage, kingdom, empire, clan, tribe, caliphates, emirates,
Khalifa.
delegates, delegates, and then it national sovereignty is self-determination, self-governance, national consciousness, national self-consciousness, national pride, national culture, national character. Nationality is is interrelated to the following principles: constitutional self-governance, national identity, national name, constitutional identity, the state identity, sovereign identity of the state.
Now, what we got to do, are you finished?
Yeah.
Now, what we got to do is familiarize with those concepts, and
Yeah.
we as a people feel like these things are irrelevant, right? And as a result, going back to what I was saying, wherever you vibrating at is what
Yes.
is the curve that you want. We are on like a lower curve as it pertains to securing the interest politically and economically.
Mm-hmm.
We are on the lower curve. Everybody else is on the higher curve. Why? Because they have these concepts in place in their minds. All of these things are constructs, but these constructs allow you to operate at a certain state that gets you are under a mindset that, oh, I need to provide for myself as a people. You're under a mindset that we're a nation. We're under the mindset that as a nation we need to provide for our other nationhood fellow nation people in our fellow nation. We're thinking about stuff like this now. We're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, oh, we need to create infrastructure. We need to have a school system for our children. We thinking about this because we're not thinking about this now. We need farms so we can feed our children non-GMO foods. We think Juneteenth passed, and just the idea of what Juneteenth means is scary. That we've accepted that nonsense. It's scary. It's disturbing.
Yeah,
But
nothing to do with it.
let's examine how we have wholeheartedly accepted the most inferior position as a people and being subjugated to the Europeans.
Juneteenth, did Juneteenth have anything relative to what I just read?
Juneteenth has nothing to do with what you read. Juneteenth is just more of an inferior mindset that we have adopted because we went through what we went through in this country.
And it
Now,
says
in
here,
order for
we're
us to grow up
willingly.
as an adults, because we're
Mm-hmm.
operating as perpetual children at this particular moment, we would have to adopt those concepts orientate ourselves to those concepts and accept them as relevant, because we're not looking at it as relevant at all.
But
And with
because
that,
we don't see how we're dehumanizing and denationalizing ourselves, we don't see the value, any value in that.
right,
We think that's irrelevant, and it's as relevant as standing on a railroad track when a train is coming and pretending like you're deaf and blind.
we see the effects in our condition. With that, we got to go.
Okay. Nighty night.